Hi, welcome to my latest YouTube video. I'm Rosenberg. Many of you know me as the author of the Human Magnet Syndrome and owner of the Self-Love Recovery Institute. Like many of my videos, they start with this spark of an idea that often comes from a psychotherapy session. Not more than, well actually I ended the session not more than 3 minutes ago, but not more than 20 minutes ago, I was explaining to a new client about her gaslighting and helping her understand her whole lifetime of being gaslit, especially the last 30 years with a husband who is a covert narcissist or maybe a sociopath. I should say, and many of you know this through my other videos, gaslighters are almost always either covert narcissists or sociopaths. Sometimes they can have borderline personality disorder, but if they do have BPD, they have sociopathic traits. To effectively gaslight a person, you have to have some element of antisocial personality disorder, which is the technical term for sociopathy, or a person being a sociopath, or a psychopath. And just for a quick differentiation, the difference of a psychopath and a sociopath, they both are sociopaths. The psychopath is more violent, more premeditated in their actions, and often enjoys hurting others. But both have antisocial personality disorder and all the traits of that. But the idea that came to me during the session was the use of a metaphor to explain how the gaslighter inculcates, brainwashes a person so that they can be gaslit. And I used the word virus. I used the metaphor of a computer. The gaslighter installs a virus that spreads into the computer to corrupt its files and to make the computer work the way that the gaslighter wants it to work. Like a computer virus, it tells the computer what to do and what not to do, that runs contrary to the owner of the computer and benefits the person who installed the virus, or the gaslighter. The virus is designed specifically by very bright people, and gaslighters are often smart, to corrupt or change the structural integrity of the computer program so that it takes information and distorts it or replaces it so that the person who's using the computer believes that the computer is normal and it's working for them. So if the gaslighter inculcates the gaslit victim with a false narrative, which is what I've been explaining about gaslighting, which is also included in a chapter in my book, The Human Magnet Syndrome. In my latest version of that book, let me get the focus, here we go. In my latest version of the book, I have 2 versions, please only get the new one. I spend about 25 pages explaining gaslighting, because I've come to understand that you cannot separate gaslighting and the understanding of codependency, which I renamed Self-Love Deficit Disorder, or SLDD. I have many videos on the topic, but a person who is gaslit is a person who is a victim to a pathological narcissist for the purpose of making them feel powerless and susceptible to manipulation. Okay, so back to the computer virus. So if the intended use of the virus is to infect the computer so that it works for the hacker, the virus maker, and commandeers the operation system, which is analogous to someone's mind, then the computer no longer works for the owner, but works for the hacker, and the person who has the computer has no idea. That's an effective virus. And in real examples is they can get information, they can steal credit cards, addresses, all the stuff that viruses can do. Gaslighting is the same. The gaslighter inculcates or implants narratives, stories that are not true, that are distorted on purpose for the purpose of impacting the victim's thinking, rational thinking, emotional reactions. They change the operating system so that the person believes they are in charge of their mind, but really are oblivious to the virus's work behind the scenes. There are so many people that have computer viruses and could, for the life of their computer, or for that matter on their phone, have no idea that someone has tapped into their computer and is in control of it. So if you accept this metaphor, that the gaslighter's inculcation of false narratives in order to change the gaslit victim's reality, their beliefs in themselves, their beliefs in others, impacts their thinking, creates fear, isolation, everything that I talk about in gaslighting. It might be helpful to use this metaphor, because if it is a virus, and now let's change the metaphor. So I'm going to do a metaphor transition here. Stay with me. Now we're going to go to another metaphor, a virus as an actual biological process or entity. So, we got bacteria and we have viruses, and not that I'm a medical doctor, and people call me doctor all the time. And by the way, for the record, I'm not a doctor. Doctors in my field have PhDs or PsyDs or medical degrees, and they work really hard to get that distinction, that diploma. I have a master's degree, 32 years experience, licenses, certification, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The virus as a biological process are really hard to find and to treat. They are resistant to most medications, and in some cases are deadly. Viruses have amazing genetic construction. They replicate very quickly. Their DNA can repair itself and morph into something that is something that can avoid medication that is designed to cure it. It changes, it morphs. So if you have a virus and it's a deadly virus, not only is it hard to find, not only are you going to get sick, not only does your own internal body resources have a hard time fighting it, but some of them can kill you or get you really sick. Well, let's use that now as the metaphor for gaslighting. If the gaslighter inculcates you with a real virus, it gets into your system and it starts to exponentially grow. If they start to beat you down and get you to believe that you're mentally ill, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too heavy, you're too skinny, you have no friends, each one of them is just a virus. And if that virus can stay in your body and your own internal resources are unable to fight it, in other words, if you lack self-love or self-esteem and you can't fight that inculcated virus, it stays in you and it grows. And if it grows and it starts to impact other body systems. So the metaphor of the biological virus is the gaslighter through his inculcation or implanting of false narratives, systematically gets you to believe that you're broken, not good enough, no one loves you, you're lonely, you have this illness. Well, he's implanting these viruses, and that not only are invisible, but are growing and resistant to your own psychological immune system. And what the gaslighter who implants the virus does is he compromises your metaphorical immune system, your internal resources, by getting you to doubt yourself, by breaking you down emotionally and physically, by taking away your friends. So without your immune system, your resources, you can't fight the virus, and the virus takes over. So let me summarize this idea that if we're going to understand a gaslighter, gaslighting, and gaslighting victims, it will be helpful to use the metaphor of a virus, one, the computer virus, and the biological version of the virus, because both are specifically, one is designed by the gaslighter, one is a medical phenomenon, but both are designed to withstand attempts to find it, to treat it, and to overcome it, and overtake your resources to get you sick, to hurt you, and for some people, psychological death. And that is just a lifetime of self-love deficit disorder, shame, and loneliness. I hope this helps you understand gaslighting, gaslighters, pathological narcissism, not just because I want to educate you on the subject, which I think is really important, but to help you understand that you can end this. You can decide to break free from narcissistic abuse, which almost always has gaslighting, which again is why I have that in my chapter in my book, The Human Magnet Syndrome, so that you can break free from self-love deficit disorder through psychotherapy, through professional help, and heal the wounds that are responsible in keeping this disorder active, so that you can finally learn about self-love and overcome this problem. So take care, be well, and keep an eye on those nasty viruses. Bye-bye.